R can stand for being resilient. E is empathy. A is acceptance. L is learning to love and loving to learn about our relationships.
So we all know that the beginning part of dating is just delicious. There's all kinds of chemicals, really jazzed up. But the reality is once you get through that, you're in the regular part of a relationship. And it can be a little dull and boring for some folks, right? So the reality is we need to help people get through the dating to relationship place so that they can get into a healthy bond together. What's the best advice to do that?
Well, I think we have a little cultural problem. And so the first thing is we have to know to slow down. But the second thing is the idea of relationship is culturally disordered, in my opinion, because right now we're operating from the dating haze to the wedding days to the learning phase to the commitment stage. And what's wrong with that, which you might notice, is that we need to go from the dating haze to the learning phase to the commitment, right? Instead of the other way around, because we don't spend enough time really reflecting and learning about the other person and listening to what our body's saying rather than filtering it with our head. So that's one of the things that we really have to do. Slow down, learn about the other person, and actually be listening to what is actually going on, not what you wish was going on or what you're hopefully thinking will go on.
You know, I call that slow love. And I actually think we're in a very interesting time right now in human evolution because, 100 years ago, you really married the person first and then you got to know them. And now I think we're seeing this real pre-commitment stage prior to the marriage, with all of the one-night stands and the friends with benefits and the living together and everything. It sounds like it's quite dysfunctional, but in many respects, at a time of very high divorce, with a whole lot of property and a lot of problems in relationships, I think that these people are actually being very cautious. And what you're saying about slow down, I call it slow love, and that we're just slowly, this long pre-commitment stage in which we really get to know the person before we tie the knot.
I think that's really important. I call it the full Monty marriage. And I work with young people who are considering engagement even before premarital counseling, because planning their mission, deciding to brand what their relationship is, their synergy, who they are, what their story is going to be in the world, and then working with the way they will approach whatever form they're going to use, call it marriage, call it long-term relationship with witnesses, call it a celebration of our life together, planning it and really creating vows early on, thinking about what that is for us is extremely important.
I look at it from a slightly different angle. And from personal and professional experience, I've realized that there has to be some level of emotional development and psychological health within each of the individuals. And before a marriage can thrive, we need to have two whole, healthy individuals with good self-esteem, good identity formation. So I work with my clients to build those personality elements that could feed into relationship dynamics. Because we can't go into a relationship and hope that it will do well if our own selves are limited because of self-esteem or lack of self-love or shame that we're carrying around.
It's so interesting because you're a psychologist and I'm an anthropologist. And so I and my colleagues have put some people who are really happily in love, long-term love, into the brain scanner and found the brain regions that become active in a long-term happy relationship. So it's an extra part that I'm trying to add. There's all kinds of things that the three of you would say, well, do this or don't do this or organize it this way in order to get to that happy position. But this is what the brain says about happiness. There's three brain regions that become active. One is a brain region linked with empathy. The second is a brain region linked with controlling your own emotions. And the third is a brain region associated with what neuroscientists call positive illusions, the simple ability to overlook what you don't like about a human being and then just focus on what you do. So that's what the brain says about happiness.
I think that's beautiful because I think of that as getting real. R can stand for the way that we're in relationship, but mostly it can stand for being resilient. E is empathy. A is acceptance. L is learning to love and loving to learn about our relationships. So it sounds like those are connected.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It sounds like what everybody is saying is that the lesson for the viewers is to slow down, allow that natural stage of like pre-commitment to, flower and learn about yourself. And from there you have a chance of actually making a real couplehood work.
Right, at last.
And last.